Hey guys, it's Nate, aka the Foot Accountant. Welcome back to the channel. One of the things that EA said during their interviews earlier this summer was SBCs have changed since their first inclusion back in Ultimate Team in FIFA 17. No longer are they just puzzle SBCs like marquee matchups or turning in some specific players for a pack reward. Instead, they're sometimes giving us evolutions or unlocking objectives or even giving us chemistry styles inside of a player pick. Now, maybe EA meant something with that, because what we're learning from some of these very early FC26 leaks is our favorite starter SBCs that we complete every single year might be gone. But do not fear, there's still going to be some other SBCs we believe, and we're going to talk about some leaks today and how that might change even our first couple of minutes, our first couple of hours on the FC26 web app, because guys, we are 1 week away from logging into the web app for the very first time. It is almost here, guys. If you're excited for FC26, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a video, and also like or hype the video today. And if you hype the video, let me know in the comments how many points it says or whatever. I'm just still learning about this. Some of you guys yesterday said that you hyped the video up to like 1,000 or 2,000 points. Don't understand it, but tell me how it happens for you down in the comments. Now, getting into things today, guys, I've only really come across this because I was doing some research trying to figure out what's the best way to start FC26. Looking, of course, back at last year in FC25, because some of the things we do at the start of every year are the exact same. But of course, each new year brings new content and new changes to the game that could change that. And one of these interviews that happened earlier this summer in July is exactly pointing towards this change with the advanced SBCs. Combining this with the leak, it's not so much just looking like a leak, guys. It might be facts. Let's get into it, right? The first question here that I want to digest is this question of, will advanced SBCs be tradable or untradeable? Again, this is an interviewer asking an EA employee this question, a EA developer this question. Now, if you don't know what advanced SBCs are, they are the most popular SBCs that we do every single year when we log into Ultimate Team. It's hybrid leagues, hybrid nations, and the league and nation hybrid. These SBCs have been the exact same SBCs that we've started with every Ultimate Team dating back to FIFA 18, the year after SBCs were introduced into this game. These have been around for a long time. And the question of, are they going to be tradable versus untradeable, is, of course, because back in FIFA 18 and for a couple years around that time, all the packs we got were tradable cards, tradable packs that we would sell cards from. This was one of the SBCs that we did right away every single year to try to build coins on our accounts. Now EA gives us FC points, and they made these packs untradeable at least 4 or 5 years ago to kind of not give us a ton of coins and make the market go super duper crazy in the first week. But these are the most popular SBCs early game, which is why this question is being asked. Now, it's not so much about the first response here, it's about what comes after it. The developer says, we're not sure yet, but these SBCs are considered foundation SBCs and are meant to serve as tutorial style challenges. One of the issues is that they can be very intimidating for new players as an introduction to SBCs. So we're likely looking at a significant rework of how they function. Ding, 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 ding. Combining that sentence with the leaks that we have from the beta that we're going to talk about today, it's looking very likely that the advanced SBCs and the early game SBCs that we will see in a week when we log on to the web app for the very first time are going to be changing. Now, there's a couple other quotes from interviews as well, kind of saying the same thing, that these SBCs, like the advanced ones we're talking about, the hybrid leagues and nations, are too complicated for the start of the game, and EA wants to change that. Of course, this goes kind of alongside with what TheFutAccountant said in my interview with him. He said, and I quote, they'd continue to lean into the space of basically catching SBCs up to the current day use that they have. We've had SBC since FIFA 17, but like he said in the interview, back then, it was just more so about completing the Wordle crossword type challenge that an SBC was. And especially like these advanced SBCs are. Like, you look at the requirements for this, you need 10 nationalities, 8 rare, 81 rated squad, 2 chem points per player, 24 chemistry in total. Back in the day, some of you OGs will remember this, you used to have cards that were loyalty cards, right? That you had either packed or played 10 games with. to complete the Around the World SBC. That's a major throwback. But what he's saying is SBCs are different now. We're not just putting in cards like a puzzle like we used to. We are turning in cards like our duplicate storage and our extra fodder in the club and kind of exchanging it. And we're crafting and we're grinding all these words that we've come up with for SBCs that really weren't there when SBCs originated in the game. And he's saying SBCs haven't caught up with that. Their use case scenarios in game have not caught up with how we're actually using them in terms of the content that we get with them now. So where this leak really starts to get interesting is some screenshots that we have here from the FC26 beta. Now, it's only the beta, so some of this could still be a test, and it's not 100% certain that these are the SBCs we're going to get. But I saw these screenshots taken by whoever screenshotted them. They were smart and they kind of removed the watermark. So hopefully they're not getting banned. Hopefully also nobody's getting banned from posting screenshots on Twitter from the beta, because the guy's still streaming the beta as well. That's been live for like over a week now. The guy that we tweeted about, if you guys saw that tweet, he's still streaming live, no bans at all. So that makes me think that this is okay to talk about. So we're taking the risk and we're talking about it today on stream. But this is a screenshot from the beta of the SBCs that were there when they got into the Ultimate Team SBC section. You can see here there's an intro to SBCs, which is kind of like your starter SBC that everybody has to do. Even in last year's game and in the years before this, before you got to Hybrid Leagues, Hybrid Nations, and League of Nation Hybrid, you had to do some really simple like intro to SBCs and turn in like 4 or 5 cards, and that unlocked all the rest of the SBCs. Looks like it's the same case here. You got an intro to SBCs, and then you have intro to challenge SBCs, intro to upgrade SBCs, and intro to player SBCs. Now, the first one that I have a screenshot of here is the intro to SBCs, the very easy one. It looks very easy. You exchange 1 player that's a bronze, you put in 2 silvers, you put in 3 more silvers, and then you put in 4 golds to complete this 4-section segment, and that's really easy to get done. And then that unlocks all the other SBCs. Now, this one that we're diving into is the intro to upgrade SBCs. And this last squad here looks pretty crazy. But first, before we get there, you need a full squad of bronzes, full squad of silvers, full squad of golds, and then this last squad is exchange a full squad of minimum overall 85 rated and team chemistry of 10 for a reward. Now over here on the side it says 84 and higher, exactly 1 in the starting 11. So I'm guessing you're going to have to use all 85s and then you use 2 84s to get the SBC done. Again, this doesn't feel very advanced like the advanced SBCs are, and it probably is going to show that with the rewards, even though that's a pretty high rating, and this could be very interesting to trade with. All of these SBCs seem a lot easier than turning in all that we talked about here and looking through these, right? Like needing a certain number of leagues, 2 clubs, 6 rares, 80 rating, 21 chemistry. Like that's a real puzzle. That's a real challenge. This is very much so more of an introduction sort of situation. And if it's not going to cost as many coins, not that the advanced SBCs were super expensive, 30,000 coins is about what they were. People would end up paying more because of SBC solution trading, making cards move up and down on the market. But it was around 30K that you would spend for each of these 3 SBC segments. Doesn't look like you're going to spend that much here. You're going to be able to do all of these from your club, except for this one. You're going to have to go and buy some players for that. And maybe 85s will sell really good on the market during the web app. That's something to kind of keep an eye on this year as we head into things. We'll talk about that more as we talk about the web app more. But that's something I'm seeing from this initially. But that's a very much so cheaper SBC. And that probably means, since it's still an intro SBC, the packs are not going to be as good coming out of it. Here's the other one. It's an intro to challenge SBCs, which hopefully gives maybe a little bit better packs. But once again, as you read the requirements here, exchange 4 players from the same nation with a minimum of 82 overall. This one feels like the one that's more of a challenge that hopefully would have a little bit better packs and that you would be able to make some coins on. And even as we get the full database release, this is really good research to start to prepare. Okay, well, how many nations have 4 players that are 82 and 83 that would be very packable to put into this? They're going to have some value straight away as well. Again, we're thinking ahead here, and especially as you open your welcome backpacks that we're hoping to have again this year, at the start of FC26, players you're definitely going to want to keep maybe some of those 81, 82, 83, and 84s if these packs are good and these new intro SBCs are worth doing. But notice here, exchange 3 players with a minimum 1 rare, and all of them have to be 84 rated. Just 3 players, but still, you got to do more higher rated cards, it looks like, for these intro SBCs than we did in the past. So we don't know what the intro to player SBCs is going to look like. Maybe it will give players, maybe it will not. But still, this is a huge, huge, huge change overall from how things are going to look. And again, speaking of the market, we kind of already mentioned it here a little bit with this one for 85s, but man, solution trading is cooked if this is the case. And that is one of the ways that people made millions every single year at the beginning of the game, because everybody wanted these packs, right? Everybody wanted the rare mega packs, the 50K packs that you could get from hybrid leagues and nations, League and Nation hybrid. If it is truly going to be this new way, it might be an RIP to what we knew before as the SBC solution trading. Now, the thing I don't want to really say is we're not getting those SBCs, because we could. Think about it, right? Intro to challenge SBCs. If the intro to SBC tab opened up more intro SBCs, maybe after you do the intro to challenge SBCs, it'll open back up these hybrid leagues, hybrid nations, and the League and Nation hybrid. That's a possibility as well. I don't know if these SBCs open up into more. You know what I'm kind of saying with that? Like, there could still be more SBCs that are unlocked after you do one of these intro challenges. So I don't want to go too crazy and say that we're not going to be able to do the advanced SBCs at all. It would be cool if they were still in there. And sure, we'll take a couple more challenges to do, you know, a couple more packs and stuff like that to still get these done, I guess. If these are still in the game, even if it's behind another extra step, I'll still do it, but maybe not, man. Again, when you combine the leaks from the beta and what we've been looking at here with what these quotes are saying, it's kind of like, okay, this is going to be a very different start to FC26 Ultimate Team with the leaks that we have here related to SBCs. So we're going to be talking about that a lot, especially as we get into the web app in a week's time, and even before that with the preparation. But I'd love to hear you guys' comments down below. How do you feel about this? I know right away, for me, it was like, oh man, our beloved early game SBCs, they're going to be gone. Hopefully whatever replaces them is good. So a little bit of the fear of change is definitely there for me, and the nostalgia of these. But maybe what comes from this is something that we enjoy more, that is easier to do, and maybe ends up giving us better rewards. We will have to see. Also, hopefully, since this is such a big change, hopefully this will be mentioned in the launch update pitch notes. I know I've mentioned that like every single video for the last couple of days, but it's such a crucial thing. Hopefully we get those on Thursday, Friday, or Monday of next week, because that'll be a ton of information, and you'll want to be here on the channel when we get those. We'll make sure everything makes sense, and it'll really start to give us the final bits and pieces of information that we'll need to know to really start off FC26 on the right foot. But I really wanted to discuss this whole advanced SBC thing today, guys, because it's looking more and more like it's going to be not just a leak and a rumor, but like actually real. And it's going to change how we start our game. So it's a huge part of our early game grind. Now, what also is a huge part of our early game grind is the first ever paid season pass from the start of FC26, and how good they were in FC25. I'm really curious to see how this is going to work out. But we have a leak here of the name of the new season and the content that is going to be kind of the theme of that content in that first season. It's called the World Tour England 66, celebrating their tournament win in 1966, which, come on, if they're going that far back in the time frames, we got to have some lone icons like it shows here for Bobby Moore and for Charlton. But we don't know that yet. The Grealish here is not a leak as well. That is just a prediction. But if the World Tour is England themed, then that means we should be having England cards in objectives and in the season pass. So Grealish is very possible. This prediction here for Rashford and for Lingard would be pretty crazy. Remember, this is the same World Tour card design that has a gold version and a silver version. So English silver straight off the bat, potentially going to be a part of this World Tour. Will be very interesting. And the Rashford here, like, that might be close, honestly, because remember all of the level 35 and the level 40 cards that we had at the first couple seasons of FC25, the Adama Traore was crazy, a level 40 from the season pass. And then I think the season after that, I forget who was next, but there was a Konate card, the one that upgraded the Champions version. That was a really good card. Some of our season passes last year at the very beginning of the game gave us some really good cards that we used in our teams for a long time. So that's a reason to kind of pay attention to this, especially as we get more and more news and closer to the launch update pitch notes, because I really do think that's where some of these guys are getting this leaked information, is probably some of that news we're going to be seeing here very soon. So watch out for more leaks on players here. Again, these are all concept cards. The card design is real. The players on the cards are concepts, but the theme is England for the first season pass of FC26. Now, also, just a couple more things to mention. The ratings are being added to the Futbin database, the official ratings. These are like actually legit official ratings. They're starting to be tweeted out by a lot of clubs. And actually, the MLS on Twitter, I think, kind of dropped the ball and announced that the full ratings reveal is going to be on Thursday, which means probably the full database of FC26 ratings is going to be out on Thursday as well. So tomorrow we'll be able to get on EA's database, and maybe with some of this new information about SBCs, do a little bit of research in there. And also we'll be able to start building some squads on Futbin and building out maybe some of those starter chemistry link ups we'll be using to begin FC26. Of course, still right now, a lot of the higher rated players are in, but if you go to Futbin's homepage and click on new players here, it gives you a whole list of the new players that have been added statistically and how long ago they were added. So expect this to be caught up to speed pretty quickly by tomorrow, I would imagine, with the new announcement of all of the FC26 official database, which of course we already know the ratings for because they've all been leaked. But when it comes officially from EA, then it's kind of just settling to know that, okay, these are actual, these are right, even though right now what we've seen from the EA ratings match up perfectly to what we saw with the leaks. But that's going to be the video for me today, guys. If you did enjoy, drop a thumbs up on it. I think this is one of the honestly most important videos of pre-FC26 lead up news that we have talked about so far, because those SBCs are such a crucial part to the start of our ultimate team, and especially for trading and getting some packs early on. It's really going to be interesting to see how this new way of SBC starts FC26. Again, if you're new around here, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube. You do not want to miss what is upcoming in these next couple of days leading into FC26 and, of course, after. And, yeah, guys, make sure you follow all my other socials or down below in the comments, and come back today later on the channel and on the Twitch stream for a live stream. We'll be talking more about FC26, probably diving into more details about ratings and what we just talked about in the video today. It's been Nate, TheFutAccountant, guys. Have a great Wednesday. Peace out.